So someone gave me a great idea to do the 52 Omnibus for my 52nd Omnibus review, and I thought that idea was a little bit of a genius one, so I went along with it. And here we have the complete, I guess you could call it event. It was an experiment by DC. They decided, let's release a comic every week, and it'll have a continuous storyline for 52 weeks, so a whole year. So it was actually a generally pretty awesome idea, and in this, we are having the events right after Infinite Crisis, which was a big event for DC, and one that actually is favored by a lot of people as a really solid event. And before we jump back into review, I did want to talk about an awesome guy who runs an awesome little business called Omni Bookmarks, and this guy is on Instagram. You can check him out right now. I'm showing you the page as we are talking, and he does phenomenal work if you're a big fan of bookmarks. And like me, I hate folding my pages. Even just a little turn on the edge really kind of irritates me. So these bookmarks have been my favorite new thing, and I love switching to bookmarks mattering what I'm reading, whether it be manga, comics, indie, Marvel, DC, whatever it is. I like to switch it up, and as you can see, he has made some extraordinary ones for me. He works very well with most people, and he can make custom designs for you, but he has so many badass ones too online. You gotta check those out. So this is not a paid sponsor. This guy's just awesome. I want to promote him. Please go check it out. If you want a bookmark for your omnibuses, look no further. These are high quality, good ass shit. So the big thing with this one is right after Infinite Crisis, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are pretty much no more. Well, they're not no more, but they just, they're not around to lead the world like they used to with the superheroes after what happened to them in that event. That means that others have to step up and save the world, but are they worthy? So it was actually pretty smart what they had here. They had like really heavy hitters on this event or storyline, whatever you want to call it, with Greg Rucka, Mark Waid, Jeff Johns, Grant Morrison. I mean, you got some of the best writers, especially during that time, writing this series and event. And each issue has usually multiple storylines going on, and sometimes there's only maybe 2 or 3 pages for each character per issue. This was an experiment 100% on DC's part, but for most people, it did pay off, and people ate this up. We have a lot of threads going on here, and Black Adam's is probably one of my favorite ones that's showcased here, with him just having enough with villains in the world after what happens, and pretty much tears one apart on national television. This isn't too much of a spoiler. It happens very early on in this series, and sets in motion what's going to happen, because this story turns into something I didn't expect. A love story of him finding a wife, soon a brother-in-law whom he begins to love, and you just don't realize how interesting Black Adam can be until you read this story. And of course, it's not going to go well because it's Black Adam's story, but it's pretty much one of the strongest stories in this collection. The other great highlight in this book is the Question storyline, especially reading Vic's adventure in his early years last year in his omnibus, to watch him again come back here, and him dealing with a very real disease like cancer, and with him having a partner in Renee, who's also a character I usually really enjoy. It was very touching, some badass detective moments, and just a well-crafted ending that actually made me smile and tear up a little. Now, another storyline I like, but it's a little shaky at points, is Steel's storyline, because the Irons family dynamic with his niece is really solid, and the second half of this storyline really kicks into high gear and shows how much Lex Luthor is, well, if you didn't know, Lex is a loser piece of shit who deserves nothing more than a swift kick in the nuts till he can't breathe anymore, but hey, that's just my opinion. And this storyline does work for the most part, especially the second half. But see, there's a lot going on in this book, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot, and my praises kind of dwindle down as we go on. Booster Gold's storyline starts, well enough, as Booster Gold is kind of a dumbass piece of shit sometimes, but there's enough interesting ideas that I like, but it gets just more convoluted and nonsensical to the point I just didn't care in the last third of his storyline, and I was just ready to get it over with his storyline. And then you have probably the worst storyline for me, which is anything to do with Lobo, because Lobo fucking sucks. But besides that point, the storyline itself isn't all that interesting. It's basically Animal Man, Starfire, and Adam Strange trying to get home after they are stuck off on these different planets, and it's just weird. It takes Adam Strange's name and just makes this whole storyline weird. There's more storylines in here too with the cult and finding out who the superhero is running around that's like Superman. There's just a lot going on. Some of it pays off. Some of it I just didn't care when it did pay off. But overall for me, I gotta be honest, this series didn't 100% nail the feeling of other heroes and their life and fight for me, which I was totally expecting to get absorbed with because I usually like other heroes more than the big heroes. And I did enjoy parts of it a lot. Like I mentioned, there is 52 issues, and with so many storylines, there's going to be duds here or there. And well, there's just a little too many duds here and there for me overall. And I can care less what happens to a lot of the characters in those storylines, especially the ones like Minutemen. Like, oh God, are they ever good? No, we don't need them. Anyway, overall, it's a really interesting experiment. And for the most part, I think it succeeds in doing something different. But for me, personally, it didn't really work for me. But if these characters, if you like all these characters that are showcased in this book as I'm flipping through them, you'll probably get more of this book than I did. If you don't really like basically third-rate and fourth-rate characters mixed with some second-rate, this book probably won't do much for you either. I'm going to give this one a 2.5 out of 5. I think it's decent, but I can't really give it much higher than that in my personal opinion. I hope you guys like this video. If you do, hit the like button. If you love it, hit the subscribe button. I always enjoy those. And everybody else, stick around. I got a lot more comic stuff coming out, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I am sorry about my little break there. I was trying to get more into these videos, but I don't like putting out just garbage. I want to be inspired. But now I am back, and I am very happy to do more videos soon. So keep a lookout on that. And everybody, have a wonderful day.